Hello everyone, greetings for the day. In this video lecture, we will study about the programming of PIC microcontroller in C. So initially we'll just see the introduction. So see, in the world of microcontrollers, it is not just enough to connect the microcontroller to any other component. Okay, so it is not just enough like you can connect any device to the microcontroller and then turn on the power supply in order to make it work. Okay, something else is to be done. So the microcontroller needs to be programmed, okay, and it should be capable of performing many useful things. So in order to do this, there are different programming languages. The microcontroller can execute the programs which are loaded in its flash memory. This is called as executable code. Okay, so see, consisting of ones and zeros, we know program do consist of ones and zeros, and it is organized in either a 12-bit, 14-bit or 16-bit word. It depends on the architecture of that microcontroller. Okay, so the CPU here considers every word as a command which is being executed during the operation of a microcontroller. So practically it is much easier for us to deal with the hexadecimal number systems. So the executable code is often represented as a sequence of hexadecimal number called as hex codes. Okay, so it is usually written by a programmer. We know that these codes are usually written by the programmer, and all the instructions that microcontroller can recognize together are called as instruction set. So assembly language program was the first higher level programming language which was created, but in fact it is like that it is made up of programming very much complicated. Okay, it made a programming very much complicated. So instruction in assembly language program are represented in the form of means they are going to have some meaningful abbreviations, and the process of their compiling into the executable code is left over to a special program that is on PC as called as a compiler. So the main advantage of this programming language is the simplicity, that is each program instruction corresponds to one memory location in the microcontroller. So it enables one complete control of what is going on with that particular chip. So this is what is the background we should know. Okay, coming to the next point, here you can see the how do the programming language work. So this is just the conversion of this assembly language program into the hexadecimal to binary and so on. Okay, so the basics of C language are, see, the main idea of writing the program in C language is to break the bigger problem down into the several smaller pieces. And the embedded C concepts are that, see, both C and embedded C are the ISO standards. They are ISO standards, right? That have almost same syntax. Both are having almost same syntax. So the data types, functions, etc. in embedded C is an extension of standards in C programming language. So with the additional features like addressing, IO, that is input output, multiple memory addressing, header file is a file with extension .h. Okay, so which contains the C function, declaration and macros definition to be shared between several source files. There are two types of header files: the file that the programmer writes and the file that comes with the compiler. Header file should include declaration, function, prototypes and enumerations, whereas the source file is a file which is used by the programmer to create the program. So for this purpose we should know the preprocessor directives. So you can just see here the preprocessor directive, that is nothing but #include, may program repeat the same set of commands for several times. So in order to speed up the process of writing a program, the command and the declarations are usually grouped in a particular file that can be easily included in the program while using the directive. Okay, so a preprocessor is an integral part of C compiler and its function is to recognize and execute the preprocessor instruction. So these are the special instructions which do not belong to C language but are a part of software package coming with the compiler. Each preprocessor command starts with hash. Prior to program compilation, C compiler activates the preprocessor which goes through the program in search of these signs. So if any encountered, the preprocessor will simply replace them by another text which, depending on the type of command, can be a file content or just a short sequence of characters. Then the process of compilation may start and the preprocessor instruction can be anywhere in the source program and refer only to the part of program following their appearances up to the end of program. So this is the preprocessor directive, that is hash include. So this command imports the text file from another document. Okay, it imports the text from another document. This is one of the preprocessor directive. So you can just see here hash include file name, it is being taken. Okay, so it is just trying to import. Then hash define command, it provides the macro and a macro expansion by replacing the identifiers in the program by the values. You can see here the identifiers are replaced by the value. Okay, so this is also one of the preprocessor directive, hash include, hash define. So why to program the PIC in C? See, microcontrollers have limited on-chip ROM and the core space for the PIC is limited to 2 megabytes. That's the reason we have to use the C language for programming. Okay, so C is easy and less time consuming to write in C than in assembly language, whereas C is the easiest language which can be modified or updated as per the requirement. So you can use the code available in the function libraries as well. The C code is portable to another microcontrollers with a little or no more modifications required. So see, there are different families of microcontrollers and C language, it can be made compatible by making a small change, or even sometimes there is no change required to be done in a C language program in order to make it compatible with the different families. Okay. Then most important point is the data types in C language. Okay, so this is most important type of question which generally can be seen is explain the various data types in C language. So what is data type? It is a type of data. Okay, that is your data may either be in an integer form, float, character, string, or it may be a array. So data types refer to an extensive systems which are used for declaring the variables or the functions. Okay, that may be of any different type then. So the type of variable determine how much space it is going to occupy in the storage. So there are basic types like integer, float. Okay, these are the basic types. So you can see here the data types are like character, okay, character, integer, float and double. So its description is character, it may be the same one. Okay, its size is 8, integer has a size 16, float has 32 and double has a size 32. So what is integer? Integer has either 0 or positive or negative value. It does not allow the decimal values. Okay, this thing you have to keep in mind. Integer allow only numeric values and its keyword is int. It is written here. Okay, integer's keyword is int. Okay, so float. What is float? Float is basically used to represent the floating point numbers. Floating point numbers. So the numeric value with decimal value is called as floating point number. Okay, so example like you can see if it is 10 point something 3, 2, 7, it is floating number. Okay, so in this way you can just define this data types. okay, or you may have character which may be either a signed character or a unsigned character, okay. Signed means it is having a negative value as well as positive value, and unsigned it is not having a value. And again your integers may be either short, long, sign long and sign short, okay. So these are different types of data types. So here you can see a very small C language program to send the values 00 to FF on port B, okay. So it is starting with a preprocessor directive #include. This will include this PIC 18F458H 8.h, okay. It should be .h like this, okay. Then it starts with the main program. It is a unsigned character Z. Range is from 000 to 255. Why this range is chosen? Because you have to send the values from 00 to FF, okay. So this range is chosen. TRISB is equal to 0. It means here we have to use port B, okay. Now we have to send the values. It means we have to output those values. So tri-state is one of the register which is used for ports, either to configure them as an input or to configure them as an output. When it is set to equal to 1, it means it is acting as an input port. But whenever we want to set the port as an output, you have to configure it to 0. It means TRISB is equal to 0 will configure the port B as an output. Now we will have a condition over here, for loop Z equal to 0, Z less than 25, Z plus plus. What it will do? See, initially Z will be, this is initial condition, okay. Z is equal to 0, okay. Is your Z less than equal to 255, which is your maximum value? Yes, it is less, okay. Then increment, okay, then increment. So the first value will be passed. Now again, as the condition is satisfied, port B is equal to Z. It means what is the value of Z now? Here Z is equal to 0. That value will be on the port B. It is outputted. It means it is 0. Now again it will go back into the loop unless and until the condition is complete. Now Z will be equal to 1. Is 1 less than 255? Yes, it is less than 255. Increment Z. So port B is equal to Z. What is Z? Z is equal to 1. So port B will be having 1. Means 1 will be sent. In such a way, you have to send all these 255 values, means from 00 to FF, as an output on port B. It means to complete this process, obviously you are going to require 255 iterations to complete this. Okay, so this was a very small program. So from this program you learn how to configure the port B as an output and how to send the values. Okay, thank you.